Hello everyone, in this video I want to talk about the distinction between practicing mode and doing mode. So those who are members of my app community will know that when we train together live and online, I consistently make that distinction. So I'll give a technique, a particular method, and we'll practice it. And when we're practicing it, I want people very mindful of what it is they're doing, constantly thinking about the nuances, the details. Is every part of the technique as it should be? They're really aware of their own body and their own movement, and we need that to make sure we're doing the movement as efficiently as possible. However, there comes a time when we then need to switch from practicing mode into doing mode. And at that point, we put away all those thoughts of self-analysis. There's a lovely quote from Miito Musashi in the classic book, the Book of the Five Rings, where he states, "Think neither of victory or defeat, think merely of cutting the enemy." So you know this as well from your own practice. Once your brain gets distracted by these extraneous thoughts, your efficiency just drops radically. So if you're sparring and you start thinking of things like, how much longer have we got to go? I'm feeling a little bit tired. This is going well. This is going badly. You start to think about the details of technique. Your brain is not concentrating on the task in hand. You're not in the moment. And that leads to you being inefficient. The techniques won't work because your brain is providing an obstacle there. So it's very important in your practice that you have both. You have both practicing mode and doing mode. In practice, we're very analytical, very mindful of what we're doing. And then we switch. We think, to quote Musashi, merely of cutting the enemy. It's delivered with full bore and full aggression. And without that analytical thought, we're thinking merely about doing damage to the opponent, to the enemy. Very important to get the two. Because in actual application, if you are still analysing yourself, you're not in the moment. And that will lead to the techniques not working. It will be inefficient. So there's a big difference there in mindset. So in your own training, I would strongly encourage this. Mark the difference between practicing and doing. Practice it a little bit, make sure you've got the technique, and then do. Just go, be in the moment, full aggression, as explosively and dynamically as you can. And the instructor's job is then to sit and watch and see what you're doing. If you're training on your own, film it. Switch it to doing mode and watch yourself. And then watch back and think, okay, that hip movement's not quite right. That elbow position's not quite right. And in that case, you can then go back into practicing mode and work on those nuances before you drop back into doing mode. Very important to mark the distinction. If you try and apply a technique where you're still thinking analytically, the technique will not work. You're not in the moment. You haven't got that mushin, that flowing mind that we need. So mark the distinction. Practicing mode is very important. Doing mode is very important. And the big difference between the two is mindset. And when you can do that, when you can be in the moment with no extraneous thoughts, that's when the technique will really work. That's when you'll be at your optimal efficiency.